Hey, what's up? Not sure if we're on yet. Like I said, if you can hear me now, told you I totally suck at this. All right, there we go. All right, so like I said earlier, I totally suck at streaming, so I figured this would auto start. Apparently, I still had to start it up myself. No biggie. Okay, so I see I got four in here, and first of all, thank you for watching. Hopefully, my audio doesn't totally suck. I'm just using some headphone set that I found just because didn't feel like setting up my main mic. So I hope this will work for you all. Okay, let's go ahead and get to the juice of this. I want to show off the Rickbat build that I've been working on, and this thing has been a lot more work than I thought it was going to be. When I first came up with the idea of doing this, I just wanted to knock this out real quick in about a couple of weeks and get on to the launch box. Um, Uncle Rick. But the more I got into this, basically just the more I was able to unlock on what it can do. So I just want to make a switch from not only light guns, but also just arcades in general. So with this setup, and this is just about very little change in your setup if you want to run arcade joysticks, Xbox controller, your light guns, even a trackball. I don't have a trackball, but I do have a mouse and ball, so I think that works the same way. It's not as good. So let me go ahead and get this started. Scroll through the game listings, and I'll just talk about some of the challenges I've done while give y'all something to look at. Then my shitty desktop. Let's go ahead and start up right here. Okay. Okay. So are you still able to hear me good over the audio in here? Okay. So I want to assume that you can. We'll just scroll through the categories and we'll go the game by games. So running this is pretty much a part of two older builds. I've done my previous one, which some of y'all are still coming for, and honestly, I think that's amazing. It was outdated, and that one I really just threw together. The purpose for that one was really to push the net play ability, because honestly, when you get that running good on a certain build, and then with somebody else, it's totally great and change experience, especially when you're playing. You want to play with your friends, with your buddies, or whatever. It's definitely a game changer. Now, technically, it really only works with your 2D games. So on here, it's going to work for your Final Burn Neo. It's going to work great for your NES, Super Nintendo, Master System, Genesis, Neo Geo, Cave. I think even the Turbo Graphics, which probably won't play a whole lot of those, but you know what? They're there if you want to use that. Now let me pop into that net play real quick. And the beauty of this is it's all done by one button. So if you look down here on net play, that's going to be the X button. You just hit that. We already have net play up. The holdup on this is first of all, I'm waiting for Retrobat to move up to its next level. I've gone through all their GitHub notes, and it looks like they're going to bump up RetroArch, which I'm actually running RetroArch 1.22, but I've created a whole new ROM set for 1.21, and that's the one that should be at. I think natively they're running at RetroArch 1.2 or 1.19, which doesn't sound like a big difference, but honestly it does. And I had a lot of broken games from my previous set I built, which ran on the 1.18 to the 120, and I just had too many games that didn't work, so I just went and created an entirely new Firebird Neo set. When it comes to net play, the three things you want to look at is going to be your ROM and the version of this. So even though we have the same ROM, this is running on version 1.10, and I'm like 12 versions ahead of that. So let's go ahead and hop in and see if we can luck out. Sometimes you get lucky on this. I just want to watch them, so we'll see if that works. Okay, and actually it worked. So sometimes you'll get lucky, and you can tell on the bottom corner if it's going to or not. Let's get out of this. Oh, and right now I'm just using a Xbox controller. It's basically the 8-bit Duo SN30 Pro Plus, and that's going to get you overall very good play on all of this. That's going to be your best way to use this. And then I'll explain some issues you might have as you use different hardware. A lot of it's minor, but if you don't know the fix, then it's really going to piss you off. You piss me off, so I'll figure it out. Okay, now we're on Super Mario Brothers right here, so we should have really good compatibility here. But you see the I right here, so that probably means that this user has this locked up. So if we try to watch the game, he'll probably give us a password screen. Yeah, so of course, that's how you also keep your friends from from other people wanting to play. So now let's say I want to start an actual netplay game myself. Of course, we'll have to enable the settings here, and it's really super easy. Game settings, go to netplay settings, and you just enable it. By default, I have it as a lunatic name, and then you can just edit that to whatever you want to be. And I'm just going to use my gamer tag, or as a name most of you all will know if you've been watching my YouTubes. And down here, it's actually best if you know how to port forward your router. You can actually use your relay server and just go to none, and you can do it from your home. But a lot of these custom servers are just as fast too, or can actually work better if you're really playing across the world. So New York, for most people, is going to work. But if none of y'all is American and you're playing probably Australia and someone in London, then Paris or one of these other ones might be a better fit. But for most people, New York's going to work best. So if it works good for you, don't fuck with it. And that's really all you gotta do to get NetPlay set up. Change your name, and I don't know, let's make a NetPlay version of this one. So hold down your button select, and they're going to have these options here. Some of these games are going to have the manual, and you can just flash through the manual. Especially when you get these older games, I would definitely go through the manual if you're having issues. The manual is going to tell you a lot of what you need to do with this. And we'll go to start NetPlay game. And here I could put in a password if I want to. I'm just going to host it as is. And you can see in the lower corner, I'm connected, so I'm waiting for someone to link up with me. Now, I always say it's best if you use the same build because everything's the same on the build. You and another friend, you're going to have the same Retrobat version. You're going to have the same ROMs, so you don't have to worry about anything being incompatible. Everything is going to play right off. And I want to have this released in two separate builds. So we're going to have the core version, which is going to be everything that you see here. It's going to have our light gun games. It's going to have our Windows games and our higher end arcade games. Now, if you're just running a potato like a 4th gen Dell, some $60, $30 computer you got, the NetPlay version is best for you. And that's going to have all your 2D stuff, your Final Bird Neos. No MAME, because this MAME really only fills in what Final Bird Neo doesn't have, and a lot of this is 3D stuff. So it might be too much for a potato computer to run, but you can still run this 2D stuff. You can run NetPlay just fine. So if you and a buddy want to play Hang Time or some beat 'em ups, that's going to be there. And let me get to some of these questions right here. Okay, and Mike, as always, thank you. Multi Mike, he is one half of the Perfect Storm, and he does a lot to help me out. So I greatly appreciate all the work he does and Vito. If you, if you haven't been watching them, check them out. They're really entertaining. I use them for a lot of background noise, so we'll just scroll through this as I'm answering some of this. Doo-doo-doo. So let's scroll up here. Hey, Mercer, thank you for joining me. Aaron Dennis, thank you, and thanks on the comment. I'm always worried about my audio because I know my audio kills me. It's just one of the things I could just never get right. So today I just gave up on trying to get it right. Yeah, net play is amazing. Pretty much all that I went over. I mean, that's it. This is the easiest way to play net play. Virtual Man Post, what's up? Let's see what your question is. Virtual Bat on my combine has an encoder that uses D input. I can properly control the games. It should not just work. I mean, an iPad too. Okay, so if you're just running D input, let's see if we can do this globally. You'll need to go into your controller drivers. Let's see, controller settings. First, you may want to see if you can just remap your controls to Retrobat on its own, and you'll come here, controller mapping, and then you would just hold your button, and you'll see your device come up, and then once you do that, you'll come across and just map all these to whatever it is. So right here, south, that's just going to be your B button if you were a 64, or I guess A if you're Xbox. You're just going to map those buttons just the way it shows. And then if you're running a six button arcade panel with your D input, because on my panel I run 0 encoders, so I guess those are naturally D input, and honestly those suck. You can get it done, and I'll go over this later, but 0 input encoders suck on these things. But for your south, that's going to be, think of Street Fighter wise. This is going to be your weak kick, medium kick, and then we'll come over here the west. That's going to be your light punch, medium punch, and that's going to be your hard punch and your hard kicks. So that's in a nutshell how you would do it. Make sure you have your hotkey. Normally you'll have that set to your coin button or select button. And then of course your start button and selects is going to be your select on your, or back button on your controllers, or your coin, and start is going to be your start button. And that's how you want to exit your games, just hitting those two buttons at the same time. And let's see if I can find the global drivers. I don't know if you can do it globally. I know you can do it system wide though. Yeah, drivers. So on your drivers, if it still doesn't work, you'll go down to your controllers, and then you can set it right here. SDL, I believe that's if you're running a PS4 controller, because I think PS don't do X input. Those are actually SDL. And then your X input, just think Xbox controllers, and also some of the other higher end encoder boards. And D input is going to just be like keyboard, um, 0 encoders. But I've never had to mess with that for 0 encoders. Maybe I should. I don't know. But I try to leave things as much on auto as I can, just because I'm trying to run so many devices through here. Yeah, and for whatever reason, my seems like I lose focus on this, and probably just because I'm running so many devices on this. Okay, so let's get back to previewing some of this, and I'll get back to some of the questions here. Yes, I've heard that the Brooks fighting boards works well. Now, the issue or things that you want when it comes to trying to use Retrobat and probably bought a Sarah too with your arcade board is you don't use 0 encoders, because even though you might have a different brand, I bought this from China, I bought this from Korea, every single board is made from the same vendor. So the issue with that is they're all going to have the same PID number, and when it comes to having order in your controls, that PI number, if it's the same, is going to cause issues. And I believe for the encoder, it's always going to be at 0060 or 0070. But that's going to keep Retrobat from differentiating if it's player 1 or player 2. Now, if I have one that's a zero input and say one that's a Brooks, then Retrobat can separate them and know which one's which, and you can give yourself a stable connection of what's always gonna be number one and what's always gonna be number two. And I got show it to you right now. So hit my start button right here. We'll go down to controller settings, and I probably even have these. Yeah. So you can see right here the joysticks. So these are my arcade controllers. I have these on zero delays. So we have a 006, and they're both PIDs the same numbers. The only thing that's different is what's called the instance number. So that's just whenever you plug them in. So it sees a 1 with the 10 at the end and 1 at the 12 at the end. So I would have to make sure if they always want to be 1 and 2, come over here, just say that's on me on player 1, and then that's on me on player 2. And if they're backwards, then I can just switch them back. So that's another way on how you can separate your player issues. Another issue is Retrobat is very, very picky on device order, and I found that out with the light guns. So best thing to do, and this is assuming it's your only build. If you're already running a build, then your devices are already probably in the correct order. So a lot of devices depend on that, but you'll need to make sure your controller one joypad is plugged in first. Your player 2 one is plugged in, and then it comes to your light guns. The one you want, your player 1 have that plugged in first. Player 2 have that plugged in secondly. Mouse, you'll probably want that plugged in as number 3 as well, and that will usually get you where you need to go. That was some issues that I had, and I'll go over that with the light gun part here shortly as well, because there's still a couple things you'll need to do to make sure you do have a stable connection. But once you do that, unless you start unplugging stuff, replugging everything will stay in its order until you basically start fucking around with it. Okay, so let's go to look at some of the fun stuff here. So we all know all the old games, so let's go over some of the light gun stuff first. I know a lot of y'all come from the Light Gun group, and yeah, trust me, once these are locked in, they're ready to go. I'm a Ascendant person usually, which I'll use my Ascendants next time. For this one, I just have Reaper, just because that's just what I've been messing with recently. So we got Aliens 51, we got some Master System, some SNES, we got Beastbusters 1 and 2. Body count. Now, this game, you will have to have a controller. Maybe you couldn't do it with a keyboard or your joysticks. Well, when you start it, you have to set it to the minister, and you have to have a controller plugged in. Just like Bottle Sarah, when you're using a light gun, it works best if you have a controller, if you have a keyboard, because some games won't exit unless you use the Alt and F4 command, or they won't read the hotkeys of start and select if you're using a controller, but they'll escape if you use it on the keyboard. Final Burn Neo, I have that issue with. A Sega Model 2, I believe that's one where I have to hit the Alt F4, and trust me, I've tested many different ways to do this, and the issue has to do with the light guns, because if I play a non-light gun game, then I can just use my controller, play, exit as I please. But when it comes to light gun games, it probably has something to do with the raw input, but it just keeps the auto hotkeys from some of the games from working. Yeah, here's that. So keep in mind that this is not going to be a 2 terabyte, 20 terabyte build. This is only going to come in at 200 to about maybe 215 gigabytes. So I wanted to make sure I kept it low because really I just want to make sure that this works great for y'all out the gate. And then if it does, then we can do some add-ons and really fill in the gaps. Then this thing can grow into like a 2, 3, 4 terabyte. But I want to do everything in small chunks as well, just because nobody wants to waste a lot of time downloading stuff and it just ends up not working. So I prefer smaller chunks because then we can fix things easier as we go along and we can actually narrow down any issues that may occur. Okay, so some techno repair. So here's some stuff that's already on here. Like I said, it's not much, but we got Afterburner, Jurassic Park, this one. Now this one's one of my favorites. Good fun game. Again, I'm using a Xbox controller for the most compatibility. This is going to be your easiest way to start. Everything's already pre-mapped. And actually Techno Parrot, when it comes to Retrobat, if you follow the guideline correctly, everything's plug and play. Now, Retrobat has all the controls already set up, and this even goes for light gun games. You don't gotta do anything. You just put in the game, play it, plug it, and you're ready to go. And I don't think this game is going to show on. I don't think it's showing up. Okay, never mind. It did. There's just so much delay between what I see and what you all see. Oh yeah, so I'm using my left joystick, moving stuff around. Now, even though it shows it a very small screen upper left corner, it's actually full screen, and that just has to do with just how the video resolution goes. But yeah, trust me, once you do actually play this, this actually is full screen. This does the same thing. I think when I try to play Sega Model 3 as well. It's just keeps it at that lower resolution for whatever reason. So I want to get out of that. Let me catch up on some chat a little bit. Okay, well thank you, I appreciate it. First of all, I haven't done a shout out yet, but definitely shout out to Mike, to Streamer. Mike Streamer helps out in the group on this. He actually let me use a few things from his build that actually works on here. So he let me use his all-in-one dependency installer. So just single click, you're putting this on a fresh computer and you just don't want to download the 20 things you need for dependencies. Michael will create a tool that works perfectly for this. Originally I wanted to put Hooker the Reaper on this, but I don't know what the issue is. I could not get MAME to connect to Hooker the Reaper through Retrobat. If I was doing it off Retrobat, I had no issues. So I'm thinking just somewhere in that, just how Retrobat works, it interferes with that connection. All the background and stuff actually from Bob Marino, so big props to him. He has his own Discord group and GitHub, so if you want to have this on your build, you can actually just download it. So if you just want this theme, all you have to do, and it's actually available as is, just straight up from the Retrobat downloads. So we can just go down to updates and download, go to themes, and you're going to look for down here somewhere fan art. Yeah, it looks like he's updated us recently too, so I'll have to check that out. But yeah, this is it. This is the same one I'm using. So if you want this theme on your Retrobat build, that's all you gotta do. And a couple other things I'll note while we're here. It's all in one. Fanstar, Bob Marino theme configurations. You want to disable welcome message. Let's have a little welcome message when you first use it. Once you disable that, then you can actually see everything. And then you have all these tools to mess with. I'm not going to go through all this. Now, if you do want to watch a video that goes in depth on all this, watch Kevin Bato. He does a great video covering this theme and all these cool things it can do. So definitely check him out. All right, so of all our games, we're going to have 134. This actually already, I want to say for the most part, it already has more games than my older Rick build does. It was smaller, but it's more specific. So if you do want game quantity, that's going to be this one. I don't have any PlayStation set up yet. So there's a few systems I am missing, but trust me, I will get that caught up and I will implement it into here. As far as the game listings right now goes, I'm not going to add any more right now. I just want to fine tune what I do have and kind of just on hiatus until Retrobat updates to the version that matches the final burn set that I'm using. Oh yeah, so we got the spinners, and the spinners work with the ball and mouse and the controller. Uh, this is one thing you might want to do. So if you can't get your ball and mouse game to work, and we'll go, I don't know, Cabal. I love Cabal, and I played it as a track version. You may have to do this per game. I'm not for sure, but just hold the button down on your game. You're going to go to Advanced Game Options, and you're going to go down to Controls, and go to your controller type. And then you'll see all these right here. The ones that you're looking for is going to be a mouse full or mouse ball only, which I usually just do mouse full. Some games might do mouse ball only better, so you can just experiment on that and whatever works best for your flavor of what you're doing. Got our wheel games here. I have a wheel, but I haven't got testing it yet on any of these. But I'm sure if you're familiar with wheel mapping, then you shouldn't have any issues with that. Now let's go ahead and randomly start a Model 3 game here. And again, all these play well. I have not had to, as far as the controller goes, I haven't had to do any modifications. It just starts right up with the controller. For a joystick, I probably had to. The light guns, I had to do a lot of modifications. Retrobat, even though it does natively run guns, it's not really configured for guns. So that's something that you do gotta think about. Just because you plug in the gun doesn't mean it's going to 100% work. I had to do a lot of editing. One thing on Retrobat they didn't do, and that's what affected the guns, is they didn't map the gun to the x-axis. So if you're playing games like Terminator, Aliens, you know those play on the analog joysticks because they're basically glorified huge ass joysticks. And Retrobat natively doesn't have that mapped. Now you would think it would be just as easy to just go in there, remap it, and that's it. But and to Retrobat's credit, it does work well. That's how you want it to work. After every game, it resets back to the default of how Retrobat has it run. So you can change it and it'll work for that one time, but your change is not going to stick. Another way you can do it is they do have the recommended way to change it. But if I went that route, it would be tied to the device. So since I'm after trying to get this universal between every devices, that method wouldn't work either. So I had to change it into hard code to get it done. And through my testing, at least between my Ascendants and Reapers, I've had no issues and it changes just fine. Also got some Windows games here, so I'll go through some of that as well. Nothing too big, like I said, mostly just because I wanted to keep the amounts of memory usage down on this thing. I don't know, let's give this one a shot. So I just kind of want to sprinkle a bit, really just show you what it can do. Oh, and another thing that I wanted to push on this build is also using the higher end arcade stuff. Now, I'm talking about higher end, I don't really mean using like Techno Parrot, but more higher end games like the like Model 2, Model 3 games. Um, I want to do the Hikaru, but by the time I was already deep into this and Hikaru really came out as being useful, I really didn't want to go through and mess with that. Plus, it's not totally perfect yet for that system, but once it does, I will have a add-on that's going to have all those games ready to go and play. Oh, and again on this, I didn't have to change anything. I'm just using straight off my controller. Nothing I had to do to change or make anything to work on this. Now let's get out of this, start and select. But yeah, so I wanted to really emphasize on systems like the STV, a lot of great games, because these systems get overlooked because MAME for the longest time just never really ran them well. So you're always told, just avoid those games, don't play them, they suck, they don't run good anyways. So I really wanted to bring those to the forefront in this build. So it's just about everything I can find on these, and that actually ran good too. There is a lot of games that don't really run good on those systems, so I just kind of left those out. All right, you can play one more game, and then I'll get into the gunplay for you, because that's what y'all really want to see is how the gunplay works and what you really have to do on your end to get everything to work. So I'll go through it. I'll explain how it all operates, so you get a better understanding of what this so-called plug and play really is when it comes down to Retrobat. Yeah, Crazy Taxi. Y'all probably seen this a million times, so just want to show you that's there and that it works. Okay, so I'm gonna catch on some comments here. Yeah, Mercer, this may be just I don't know on how you maybe put in Techno Parrot. Um, I think I always just downloaded mine natively from the website itself. If you download straight through Techno Parrot, maybe that could have been the issue. But again, I'm not for sure. I think that was a bug in Techno and Retrobat for a little bit as well, if I'm not mistaken. First download. Well, let's find out how many. I think we're about under 10,000. So this is like everything. We can just go down here to all games. So we're going to have 69, 63. Arcade is actually going to have all your CPS, everything arcade systems here. So we're at about almost 3,000 games. Now, to work how to not have doubles in this systems, I really didn't want doubles, so which took a lot of manual deletion on my end. But also, I couldn't have run everything like I can give you all the main versions, all the final burn versions. But I did emphasize use on final burn because that's netplay compatible, and those usually are just run better. Now, when it comes to filling the gaps, you want to have MAME to fill in your 3D stuff. So the MAME helps takes care of your games like Killer Instinct, like Tekken, NFL Blitz, and so forth. and I use the CPS system. So these are actual individual systems here, and not just groups. If I went groups, you would have seen duplicate versions of this. So you won't find these games inside Final Burn itself. But however, if you go to all games, then you're just going to see a nice, clean slate of your arcade-only games. And Final Burn Neo, all those are going to be NetPlay compatible, so that's why I left Final Burn Neo as is. Also, Capcom 3, 2, 1, Cave, Thomas Wave. I don't know if Thomas Wave is NetPlay available. Let's find out. Nope. You'll see it over here if it is or not. But if I want to do some Capcom, it's going to be Start NetPlay. Now, you may see some duplicates, but do pay attention to the titles of these. This is a 3-player version, and that's a 4-player version. So most of your duplicates are going to be because you have different players, and the reason being is if it's only me and a friend who wants to play Captain Commando, and if all we have is a 4-player version, you're going to be locked into that one player because 4 players, for the most part, are going to have you. Take Sense, for example, player 1 is going to be Homer. You have no choice, you gotta be Homer. But now if you go to 2-player or 3-player version, then you have freedom of selection. So if you see doubles, that's more likely the case. Oh, well, thank you, Boy. I appreciate it. You do some great work yourself, man, so never undersell yourself. Alright, well, Kurt, thank you as well. I appreciate that. Yeah, and on Supermodel, I mean, all this is easy to do. You can. The good thing about Retrobat, it's so easy to change everything. And of course, me running full screen, I've just always got it. It always looks buggy on my end, so I'm sure it's probably just something with me not knowing how to do it. But you can always hit Start, go to your game settings, and go to Per Advanced Configuration. And then you can go to Model 3. And then you could mess with all your settings through here. By default, everything is going to be at a 4x3 with the bezels. So you can always just hit your Start, go to Game Settings, and you can just change all that within your global options, or per systems, or per game. Okay. Oh yeah, I need to thank everybody yet. So again, for this build, I had a lot of help from the guys from the beginning. Mostly, they didn't really just there just for me to bitch about what's going on. So I appreciate them for putting up with all that. But yeah, Michael Deshawn, Mike Gaming, Sean Big Dick, definitely him. He's doing a lot of stuff on his own as well, so definitely check his stuff out. He has his vertical build that he's about to put out, so it's going to be something. Can't do anything without Philip the Guru Henry. He is like an encyclopedia of knowledge. So, and he loves taking DMs. So if you have any questions, just contact Philip Daniel Henry, and he'll be sure to get you going. He is like an encyclopedia of all this. And Martin Kilroy, you ever come across him, buy him a Stella. He's gonna be your best friend for life. And of course, Bob Marino for his amazing artwork. This thing would not be as cool as it is without all that. Okay, so let's get down to the light gun gaming stuff. Okay, so very, very important, and I cannot stress this part out enough. And I'm even going to do it right here live on camera. Pay attention to the top part. You're going to see my device is plugging in. Let's see, I need to unplug this gun. Yeah, Retro Shooters 2 disconnected. I'm doing this because I'm also very confident in how stable this is once it's set up. So don't be scared. Trust me, if it's backwards, if it's wrong, unplug it and replug it back up. Okay, so I got my 2 guns unplugged. So now I want to plug in my gun 1, and you'll should see it popping up on top of the screen. Honestly, if this is your first time doing this, I would highly recommend Um, Disconnecting everything first. Well, when I say everything, just your mouse devices, which should be your mouse, your light guns, and reboot your computer, and then replug everything back. Retro shooters I have much of an issue with. Sendins, on the other hand, oh my god, I love them, but Sendins, they like to bitch, bitch, bitch. But I can still get into work the same way, but Sendins do work better when you do it after you reboot. Also, Sendin, for whatever reason, certain guns are very, very picky about wanting to be player one. So you're just going to have to adapt your situation to that gun to make it work. And I'm going to have to do a whole separate video or a separate stream on that alone. Um, let's see. So I got these plugged in. Of course, you can plug in your mouse as well. And trying to think. Yeah, so it's best to run your guns when you have a keyboard handy because some emulators you're just going to have to use Alt and F4. I've even tried to hotkey it to a controller if I want to do that. I couldn't do it. I just could not do it. But so you're plugged in. I just want to go play a light gun. Um, you'll need to first make sure you have your mouse indexes set for your gun. So it's going to be the very first thing you'll want to do. This is going to make sure everything stays in line with anything Final Burn Neo, MAME, everything else is pretty much straight to the point on the order you plug everything in. So the game that I always recommend that you test is going to be Jurassic Park here. And that's going to be the Final Burn Neo. If you don't know, you'll see the Final Burn Neo come up right here. Now, one issue people have is saying, even though my player one gun is putting in the coins, I'm able to start it, but my mouse isn't moving. Of course, I lucked out, mine is moving, but I would still recommend you set this to the correct number, so don't just leave it on auto. But that's because your coins and your start button relies on the D input on your keyboard. So it's totally different from what controls your input, because you can have your gun controlling the correct coin and start, but when you move it, either the cursor is not going to move or it's going to control player 2 and not player 1 because it also acts as a mouse device. So even though you have the correct D input device where it needs to be at, your mouse input is not in the correct device, and that's what causes a lot of headache. Definitely caused my headache. So we want to do this on a global scale. Hit start. Go to controller settings. You can just, game settings, hit up. Go to guns. And we're going to start at 0. So if we're lucky, we're at a 0 start here. That's always going to work. You see, it's not moving. It's not moving at all. So I'm just going to escape or start. Yeah, got to escape to get out. And then I will move that to number 1. See if we'll get lucky there. And it should work for number 1. So again, coins work, start works. Now I'm able to shoot. Now we gotta get player 2 going. Escape out of here. Start, game start. Guns, mouse index number 2. And since 1's on this one, let's see if it's going to be number 2. And you really should have no more indexes than mouse devices. So since your mouse, of course, counts as a mouse device and your guns count as mouse devices, I'm going to have 3 devices to check. And the first one actually starts at 0, which I'm pretty sure my original mouse, the actual mouse, is taking up the 0 spot. So by deduction, player 2 should be That one there. And there we go. So I have player 2 going. Hit my start button on 1. Now we're cooking. Just like that. Now, if you're on Reapers, you can actually just exit the game from your gun, which is going to be the button on your right that's closer to you. So you can just hold that down for a few seconds, and it's going to close it. But that trick will not work if you're on Model 2 or Model 3. One of those two doesn't work. But if it did, then your Reapers can just exit the game out of any of them for you. Okay, so now that I know these work for Jurassic Park on Final Bar Neo, my next test is going to be Aliens. So I want to come down to Aliens, and this is the main test, just to verify everything's in order. Now, once you confirm you have them both working good on those two games, your guns are good for the rest of the games. Unless you do any more plugging, unplugging, you're going to be fine. And of course, I try to play this game on stream and it doesn't want to boot. Let me try another one. I did do some fucking around on Aliens. Okay, so I'm just having the Aliens issue, which is fine. You can really do any main gun on here. So I got my coins in. Get player 2 going. Now the crosshair colors are actually crossed on this, so my blue's actually my red side, and then my red side's actually something else. Okay, I actually have them off. That's good. So I'm using my player 1 right now. I'll swap to my player 2. All right, it's working. I just shoot like shit right now. Okay, see if I can exit the game with just using my Reaper button. Hold it for about 3 seconds. Okay, and everything's good. All right, let's get to some of the juicier stuff here. We want to see some techno parrot shit. And it looks like we have Salvation and Jurassic Park going on. So we've done Jurassic Park on Final Bar Neo. Let's give it a shot here on Techno Parrot side. Okay, and while I'm waiting for this to load, I want to go through some of the comments here. And again, thank you all. I'm glad people's actually here watching this. I already have 10 more people that normal that watches me. Okay, and yeah, of course, it doesn't want to work for me while I'm on stream, which is fine. I'm still working on this, so I'm sure it's something small that I fucked up. See if we have any better luck with Salvation. And it could be that I'm doing this on stream too, on why it's not working. Okay, I think I know why. I think I recently updated my Techno Parrot too, so it could be a issue with Jurassic Park from that. No, actually, Virtual Man, I'll show you how I have my Techno Parrot set up, and it's really easy to do. If you had to have the name of the Techno Parrot game and matching the game profile name, and then you just add dot folder or a dot Techno Parrot to it, and Retrobat will find it and it will boot right up. But everything's within Retrobat. But whenever I did download it, I did do an outside download, so I don't think I downloaded with the Retrobat, but I did move it to where Retrobat wanted it to be at. Alright, so. Alright, got player 1 going, player 2. Alright, sorry if my aim's weird. I just don't really have much length on my headset, so I'm definitely not as far away as I need to be on this. So that's why my crosshairs are just kind of all over the place. The guns are fine. I'm just too close to my screen. Alright, so good here. I'm just ready to kill something. Alright, there we go. So there's that player. And player 2. Alright, we're good here. Let me see if I can exit from the gun. Just going to hold my escape button. Okay. Alright, let's give Jurassic Park one more try here. See if that L floater message was the issue. Alright, we're good. So I guess that's what it was. So I guess if you're running this and you have a techno game crashing, just hit your little Windows key and see if there's a window where it's asking you to confirm something. But we are golden on Jurassic Park now. Well, maybe. I think that's just because I hit my Windows key and fucked everything up. That's fine. So I hit my escape and get out. But y'all get the gist. Okay. I'm going to go get my gun set here. And I'll go over how to get Technoparrot started, at least as far as the directory goes. Alright, so I can just hit my Windows tab down here. I didn't even mean to start this game. Okay, so I'm assuming you can see this part. Again, there's a lot of lag between my screen versus what the streaming screen shows. Alright, but we'll go down to your, this is the root of where I'm at. So this is the Retrobat build right here, if it's Retrobat. If you do have another Retrobat build, then you'll just want to rename it to whatever. I would just rename it .back. Because if you don't, then this will merge in with your current Retrobat build. So let's keep that in mind. So you will go down to emulators. Alright. Sorry, I had to take a quick drink. Okay, so emulators. You'll see your Technoparrot down here. And this is where you put all your Technoparrot files in. You can just download it, do it here. You'll want to go to your, I think it's user profiles. Now, you'll want to make sure that the name of your folder in your ROMs is going to be the same as this. What I do, just to make sure I have the same name, I just right click and copy. And then we go to Technoparrot. Now, your ROMs, you're going to store your ROMs for Technoparrot in the ROMs folder. So we'll go down here to Technoparrot. And then you can drop them down here. So right here, I just made a folder. I named it Jurassic Park.technoparrot. And then right there, that's just all your ROM files. Nothing special you have to do. Just drop them there. If you are adding to this, make sure get to my Technoparrot emulator. Goes your Technoparrot here. and go back to your user or profile. Now, this is a trick shown by Peter Drady. Definitely cut a lot of this out, or cut a lot of work out on doing this. And you can use a program like a Notepad++ to do this universally, but you'll edit out the drive letters. I think that it would probably read originally like T colon whatever, but you just want to delete that to where it only looks like this. So that way it doesn't matter if you're on an E drive, F drive, whatever, it's always going to find your game. So just keep that in mind when you're doing a new games that I haven't uploaded as an add-on just yet. All right. Well, everyone, that is really it for now. And thank you for joining. I just kind of want to go over this and let y'all know that I have been working on this, hell, probably from about any free time that I really get. So maybe about 2 to 4 hours a day on this thing. And I'm really just waiting for a Retrobat to bump to the next version. So I'm kind of not running the Final Burn Neo games with a ghetto fix. I want everything to be as natural to the Retrobat core as possible because that will also make playing net play games and really just any other add-ons a lot more smoother. And I also will have a auto update option, so this will also be meant to update when Retrobat updates. But I wouldn't do that until I put out a post saying go ahead and do these updates because I want to have a default file profiler thing, but it will just put back all the files that Retrobat would delete. That would be necessary mostly for light gun games because a lot of fixing had to be done for the main games and other ones as well. Well, anyways, I hope this was somewhat entertaining. I hope this helped y'all with some questions that you might have on this or anything else. And give my channel a like as well too. That always helps me out, helps you all out, anybody else out. Anyways, you can always catch me in Discord in the Facebook group. So, if you have any questions, don't be shy. Ask. If I don't answer it, there's a lot of knowledgeable people, especially in the Discord. If you're not there yet, do it. You are missing out. A lot of great stuff in there, a lot of great peeps. Anyways, I'll catch y'all next time. Bye and thanks.